cold.
It's cold.
It's freezing.
Freezing.
Good morning.
Good morning. That's the best you can do.
Yes. We said in a few episodes ago we were laughing about doing one with Morning Bec.
Oh, that's right. We do it, but you've had a coffee. It doesn't work now. I should be Morning Bec without coffee.
I really don't need to hear that.
No, I've got to put up with that. Your mum has to put up with it, and Jared has to put up with it.
But our lovely listeners don't have to.
I know. By the way, while we're talking about this, we get so many people asking us questions. What's our relationship? And I think we've made it pretty obvious that I have a wife.
I talk about my boyfriend. It's none of them are in the room at the moment.
No.
Peter's my boss and I'm his assistant.
Yes, end of story. And we've known each other a very long time.
Yeah, like 12 years. 11 or 12 years.
12 years, and I employed Bec because she could put up with my sense of humour and my no off switch, or there's a line and oops, I crossed it. Oh, where was that line again?
You run a mile past the line every day.
I was born over the line.
Fair enough.
So I blame my mother for that.
But yeah, it's odd, so hopefully that answers it for the last time.
So hopefully it won't. We still get asked the same questions all the time everywhere. Yeah. Well, I actually thought I would start with someone on YouTube. Actually, Jonathan asked a question on our first podcast. Mm-hmm. And by the way, we're now on Spotify and Apple, and should be on all the other ones. I think we're on everywhere now.
No, not quite every.
This is episode 3.
It should be.
It will be by then. 3 weeks away.
Yeah, it should be.
Should weeks. Yeah. Anyway. He asked a question. He was very interested to know. He sees in my videos and everything about how I communicate with models to get looks. Mm-hmm. He wanted to know what I would do with non-models. Mm. Remember we had that interesting bit of fun in, I think it was Milan? We had a workshop in Milan, and we had a really cool group that were really, really quick with everything. Mm. So what we normally allow 3 hours, we got done in 2 hours because they were just on the ball straight away. We had full sun, which made it easy for me to teach. And it was sort of like, I think we had 45 minutes to go. I'd covered everything. And they were still like...
What are we going to do for 45 minutes?
I think I said to Bec, oh shit, we got through this way too quick. They were like sponges. I just sucked it all in.
They were such a good group.
They were a good group. Anyway, I decided to quickly spoke to each of them, and a lot of them were either running studios specialising in either corporate work or portrait type work, and most of them weren't getting to shoot with models regularly, so they were more working with non-model people. Mm. So I just grabbed one of the photographers and said, all right, so if you want to see how I pose a non-model, let's work with you guys. And they were amazed that before I even lifted the camera, I spoke to him for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, got him to understand what the photo was for.
So... All right, so I'm going to take your photo. What are you going to use this for? Is this going to be for your web page? Is it going to be for social media? Is it going to be for your Tinder or Grindr or whatever? And went through, and he decided, it'd be really cool to have a picture for his business to use as a business page. I said, all right, so what sort of feel do you want people to feel when they look at your picture? Like, give me one word of what emotion they want to feel when they look at your picture. Or if that's too hard for you, name someone you'd like them to go, oh, gee, you're so George Clooney. Or something like that. Give me, it might be Machine Gun Kelly. It's up to, look at Bec's face. For all those people who are in potty world, you don't get to see Bec's. Don't call it that. It's so... Anyway, so don't you like potty world?
No, I don't.
I could make a really good movie.
No, why?
The world in Podland. So yeah, I went through that, and I can't remember what he said. He said something like this was the feely one. It might have been trusting or something like that.
I think it was that.
So I just got him in a position, and I just started working on that word of trust. And
I think then he wanted to, because he had his camera with a strap on, like over his shoulder, and then he was like, "Oh, I'll take that off," and you were like, well, "Don't you want people to know you're a photographer? Isn't that your business?" So he was like, "Good point, actually. I'll keep that on."
And it was amazing how much they actually got to see that if I'm going to pose a model, I've already got a look in my head what I'm trying to get out of that person. They'll have a certain look about them, and that'll be where I want to go with them. Or if I'm working with people like you or Shay, a little bit, you have your own looks that you like. So I'll let you go and find your look that you're into. But it was really interesting, and not one single one of them thought, well, even real people, not models, but people, vinyl people, not digital. Even with them, we've got to do the same type of thing. We've got to work on capturing who they want to be, and then just making them feel that way. So, that was for Jonathan Davidson. Who asked the question. So there's your answer. Yeah. So when I work with anybody who's more the corporate headshot or things like that, I know most of the time I shoot them without them even. They think it's all test shots.
Yeah, I think you're setting up the lighting.
They think I'm setting up lighting. All I'm doing is moving the lighting up and moving it back a bit and taking a couple more shots and talking about footy or whatever I find out is there.
And they think that Peter's just like doing the test, just setting up. And then he's like, "Would you like any of these?" And I'll be like, I actually do. Is that cool? And we're done. And like, wait, what? I thought that was just test. And he's like, no.
No.
Because if you think it's real, then you get all like, oh no, I'm stressed now. It's the real thing. And then people get uptight. Whereas if they think, oh, it's just a test, they're a bit more relaxed.
Yeah, well, even the other day I was shooting you. For some reason, you've been getting up a little bit tight lately when the camera gets lifted. But well, you even commented yourself. But the couple of first two test shots,
or better.
We haven't got that jowly thing you're doing with your head. I think you're doing a I'm not comfortable face. That's why you're not liking it.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with me at the moment.
I think it's your little bit of fringe that needs to grow out.
Probably.
It's
so
just
annoying.
at that length.
It's like at the worst, at my most annoying length.
Just dip your head in manure or something so it grows quicker.
It's nearly there.
It's not far. It was just right at sideboard length the other day.
It's at my chin now, so it's nearly there.
So if you want to see what it's like, it's on.
It's on YouTube.
It is on YouTube. Yeah, no, it is on YouTube because we didn't really go into that stuff in the Inspire episode. It only started to really stick its head out in the YouTube one.
So annoying. It's all right. It's nearly grown out. It's a good thing about hair.
Good thing about hair.
Is it grows? 2 weeks between a good and a bad haircut. This wasn't a bad haircut though. This was just, it's a fringe that I've been growing out and now it's at that really annoying length.
Oh, that's right. You wanted to go emo for a bit again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean again?
No,
it never grew out. This wasn't a phase.
So your old 14-year-old emo hair.
Oh no, I got this done as like 70s like curtain bangs.
Oh, that's right. You did the curtain.
I decided I wanted a dolly haircut.
A dolly.
Because it's cute.
It's cute.
It's fashion.
Fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what else do you want to talk about today?
Oh, we're done.
No, we've still got so much time.
So much time.
Well, yeah. What else did you want to?
Well, I can go through stuff people have sent me messages on. I just thought you might have contributed something, but I suppose it's early in the morning and you haven't woken it up yet.
I've woken up.
It's too cold for you to think.
Yeah, I'm a little bit frozen. It was -1 this morning in Melbourne.
People in Canada will be laughing at you.
No, I know they'll be laughing in Canadian.
In Canadian, yeah. -1 is like their top temperature.
I know. Well, it's cold for here.
It's cold for you.
It is. And then it's like, 40 degrees in the UK, I saw?
I got a heat wave or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
crazy.
But it's still not the coldest ever been.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
In a couple of weeks or so, Let me get this right. It's 26th of January. The 25th of January, back in 1986, it snowed in Melbourne.
It's wild.
It's wild, I know, because I got married the next day. We couldn't move into our house because we live on top, or we just, my wife and I planned our whole wedding about when we could move into our house.
And you couldn't.
Because it was getting built, and I sort of finished building it, and we got our certificate of occupancy. Like, we'd already worked out our wedding day. We made sure we got our certificate the week before we got married, and we're going to spend our first night married in our brand new house with just a mattress. We had no furniture. We were broke as. But we couldn't get up the hill because it was snowed in, so we ended up staying in some really crappy, like pay-by-the-hour motel. It was terrible.
That would have been fun, though.
It was, but yeah, that was. I couldn't.
Something about crappy motels that, I don't know, they're kind of cute.
They give you memories.
I don't. It's I like the vibe for some reason.
The vibe, like the one we had, the one we went to in Aubrey.
Yeah, that was cute.
But that was a retro crappy. It was clean and everything, but they made it feel exactly like the 50s.
Yeah, I like that vibe. It's cute.
I think they bought the blankets from the op shops from the 50s. They went around to get all of that stuff.
So itchy.
So itchy.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
What's wrong with you? It's cold.
Maybe that's why I've been uptight lately as well in photo shoots, because it's cold and I'm not comfortable.
I know you don't like cold. I was actually thinking that we should get you, while I was going through the shots in the last, I've been culling out, and with, just so you know, with my photo shoots, predominantly I keep every single frame every frame, including even where flashes don't fire or it's completely terrible. Pretty much every shot just goes into what I call my studio backup, so the entire shoot. And then I have another, what I call working drive, which is what the ones I cull and edit on. Then I have a backup in the home office, which is sort of like, that's the backup of the culled version. But if I ever need to get to so I've got three versions at all times. Yeah. And I was culling your photos over the weekend because there was sort of like 27,000 from Europe that was in there. And I was just thinking, why is her face so much better over here? Is it the wine? Is it the food? Oh, I think it might be the heat. She's like a lizard.
I really am.
But it was actually, I went through and I couldn't believe how many I got rid of from the last couple of shoots in Melbourne.
Yeah, I think it's the cold.
The cold. All right. Well, so I've got to get more heaters in here, or we just got to move you somewhere warm to shoot?
Yeah, I don't know. With both.
Both?
Let's move me somewhere warm and put a heater on me. Maybe then I'll finally be warm enough.
And sorry for background noise. Our studio is it's a photographic studio, not a soundproof studio, even in our office up here.
Yeah.
And
it's also in an industrial area with warehouses around that make lots of noise and...
Well, they're manufacturing next door. He's a timber window manufacturer and he cuts and grinds.
It's still industrial, isn't it?
Well, yeah, well, sort of.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I was thinking warehouses.
That's why the studio is so good, because it's just a big converted, industrial...
Yeah, big open area.
Yeah.
I've got in fact, I might even I'll see what I do on Friday, but Friday I might get and finish that psych off. I'll see how that goes.
Finish repairs.
But I was actually, that last half an hour before I knock off, I'll do stupid things like just go searching on YouTube, and I happen to end up on Marketplace because it's on those computers. Next minute I'm sort of went down a rabbit hole. There's all these really cool properties. There's like 200 acres in Tasmania.
I was about to say, were you looking at properties again? Because I remember you did this a little while ago and you were like, I'm going to buy this place and I'm going to do all these photo shoots here. And I was like, okay.
Well, this one in Tasmania is amazing. That the size of the big old wool shed down there would have made an amazing studio. But it just cost me like $2,000 to get a new model there, because I don't think.
And you'd have to get a new assistant, because I'm not going to Tasmania, especially in winter.
So that's how easy I get rid of you. That's awesome.
You can't do that.
But I don't think they had any internet down there, so it's going to be a bit. I need that. So I need my car. And I actually got on the car last night.
Oh, you sim?
The sim, actually back into it, like our plans are working.
That's good. I like
so
to hear
we're halfway through the week sort of thing, and even though you only hear this on Fridays, this is a Wednesday we're recording this, and
you're all caught up?
I've caught up with what had to be done for the whole week.
Nice.
Except for a couple little bit of editing.
I still have my cough.
You still have your cough.
Still a little bit of editing.
Oh, just a little bit of Insta and that editing and a couple of models I need to do. But all our other work's all finished.
Nice.
My to-do list for the week has got only one thing left on it.
Nice.
So I decided, I'm going to get in Ferrari and drive around Spa. And I had actually set my best time. I haven't been on it for so long and I'm starting to drive. I think I needed that break because I'm driving so much better now. I'm going to go into race tonight, I think.
Oh.
I did me practicing and now I'm going to go into race mode.
Nice.
I almost have to be all grumpy by the next podcast because I got taken out in turn 1.
Oh, I'm gonna pack tonight.
Yeah, packed. Oh, that's right. You love doing
I have
stuff
lots.
like that.
There's my personal to-do list has lots on it.
Yes.
That's all right.
So I can see you knocking off earlies.
No, I'll be fine. After we finish this, and then I'll be doing filming because Rara is back.
Oh, yes, we're filming with Rara today.
Yes.
That'll be fun because, she's finally back.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that. It's funny how there's certain models that I do shoot a lot, but I only have to go a month or so without shooting them, and I miss shooting them because, again, Rara, I haven't known quite as long as you, but I've known her a long time.
Someone said somewhere, I can't remember where it was, but you told me they mentioned, they're like, Bec's not as bubbly not as bubbly in person as she is on YouTube. And I was like, no, it's probably just because they spoke to me in the morning.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Was Bec all right? She didn't seem to... I said, it's before 1 o'clock. Once 1 o'clock hits, it means she's actually awake now. She's not just running in sleeper mode.
And if there's an A in front of the time.
An A in front of the time, don't talk to her.
You're like, when it gets to P, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm awake now.
You're awake now.
Yeah. Such a little owl.
An owl. Yeah, I know. I found that when a trip to Europe was sort of like, we get to 11 o'clock, I'm about to go to bed, and all of a sudden next minute's 2 o'clock in the morning.
I'm such an owl.
And then whinge, you got to get up, start work.
Yeah. It's me. I'm a vampire. I like the nighttime. So why is it that with some models you do only have to go a month, and then you start to miss them?
Because Rara, I don't know, it's really weird. I call her my Kate. As in Kate Moss. She doesn't look like Kate Moss, but we both have a love for a certain style of photography, which is Mario back in the 90s. So you did have that period, that book that's behind me that people can't see in Poddyland, but Tubiland can see it. Are you like this? No.
I think we mentioned that book in...
We can make some NFTs. We can make some potties and tubies.
Oh my God. We
back on track. Yeah, sorry.
And NFTs are a pyramid scheme anyways.
Yes, they are. Everyone's getting at the bottom.
That's what I said, they're a pyramid scheme. Don't believe in that. Anyway,
so we quite often will share, doesn't matter where she is in the world or where I am, just in our little messenger section in Instagram, she'll just send a picture she found on Instagram. And there's always that type of look. And it's funny because so many photographers don't get it because it's just very flat, very natural light. It's a little bit here nor there, the actual whole thing. It's just a nothing.
I'm full in that category. I'm like, it's nothing lighting to me personally. But that's just, it comes down to taste. I prefer that real high contrast kind of look, whereas you guys tend to prefer that flat look, and I'm just
it's because it more brings you into the subject matter, and
I guess
it's a little bit like me. Hopefully, it sounds a bit better than our previous two sounds. A little bit like the sound we're using a Rode podcast or whatever they call the thing, and it had all these things in it. We turned them all on, and I hated the vocals in the first two, so we've turned them off, and I'm going to mix it myself like I used to. But it's a little bit like that. I think when you got something just raw, and Rara and I have been talking more and more about just when we're doing that style, we just don't retouch it either. We just leave it as it is, how it was supposed to be seen. And even editing the little blog I did on you yesterday, it was really cool. Not edited.
Editing, not edited.
Editing, not edited. All I did was, it's got global editing. The way of it went through ACR, and it had turned to black and white and had the contrast blur on it and things like that. But it only went into Photoshop just to resize.
Yeah. Other than
which I could have done in my raw output, except that I wanted to keep a full-size raw TIFF and then just 1080 high-sized JPEG. And that was the only thing I did.
And that's how you've been wanting to do your blogs, is keep them all as unretouched.
Yeah, or extremely lightly. So if someone did have a Cyclops zit on their head, which is not really who they are.
I do at the moment.
You do at the moment. I would take that off just for them, or I wouldn't use that shoot. But it's also, when I do a shoot, there's also so many sort of good pictures in there. It just seems a shame that nobody sees it. Like, I still want the hero shot. I still want the very, very best picture in my eyes. But then there's lots of really good pictures with different emotions, which is good fun to share. And there's more a story when there's that transition.
Yeah. I think that's how I more so see the blog, as like the story. That's what I always thought.
Yeah, it's more the story of the shoot. And I've got on my to-do list to try and get back and get a blog up every week. And now that I've rescheduled my life I shouldn't have an excuse. Maybe when we're traveling, it's a bit harder.
Yeah.
But if I'm good enough, I should get a couple ahead before we head off to Americas.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, cool. But yeah, things like that. And
have you spoken about your rescheduling of your life?
I'm not sure about. I mentioned that we did that. I think in our last podcast, I mentioned that I hadn't done a commercial shoot all week.
That's right, we did. Maybe
and that's why we got asked to quote on the shoot this week. And I said, well, it's going to be my top rate. And I just said, bang, there's a top rate. I like it, I'll lump it. I'm not working for anything less than this commercial now.
And they lumped it.
They lumped it, which is fine by me because I don't know. It's just got to a stage where things like that drag me down for 3 days before and after.
Yeah, because you're just like dreading the thought
of I've got to do work with stupid art directors. And I know this sounds really, really weird, but when you've been doing it for long enough, and we've got our commission work, which is my work, and the evergreen content, which is stuff that just keeps selling. Mm-hmm. I don't need to go into or be on shoots with people drag me down.
Yeah, for sure.
It just, so the whole restructure of my commercial photography, which I do every few years, I relook at it. It's like when editorial started to die, and that died very quick from paid editorial shoots to advertorial, and now it's full on. You got to pay to get in a magazine. I just had to restructure then to change how I was making my money, or how I was.
Is that when like Inspire and stuff came about?
Yeah, Inspire started a little bit around there because we had a bigger picture to what we were originally going to do, and that was all right for a bit, but then failed once those magazines wanted to be paid for the pages, and that's sort of like, I'm not paying you $5,000 to put an editorial in your magazine.
It's outrageous.
Yeah, that's outrageous. So, but the Inspire also started when we were doing workshops, the amount of people that said they couldn't afford the workshops, or why don't you come to Nicaragua or some country that we'd never go to.
We still get both of those things, though. We still get people that say they wish they could come to a workshop, but then if I do suggest Inspire, they're like, oh, well, I want to start a photography business, but I don't want to put $30 a month into it. And it's like...
Yeah, I'd rather buy a lens.
Yeah. Which it's funny, I was actually having a talk about business stuff with my nail tech last night, and we somehow I don't know how we fell onto the subject of that, and because she does one-on-one training teaching other nail tech stuff. And I mentioned that we've got Inspire, and she was like, well, what's that? And I told her, and she's like, okay, because I want to start doing like online tutorials but sell it as a package, but I don't know if I want people to download it or stream like what you've got. So I was talking to her all about that. Anyways, I mentioned to her that I just remember this one message we got from someone who was saying they didn't want to invest a 1-month subscription to Inspire into their business. And I thought, or they couldn't afford it or something. And I was like, if you can't afford to invest $30 in your business, like,
that's less than one cup of coffee a week in sort of Australia.
And also, like,
or maybe a bit more. But anyway.
It's just I've never even done business school, and I know that you've got to put money in to get.
You'll spend $30 on a cocktail.
Yeah, begrudgingly. But you know what I mean? Like, my nail tech said that she just spent $5,000 on business coaching, like a short course or something that she's got coming up. And she's like, I didn't want to spend $5,000, but it's going to put me in a position that I'm going to be able to grow my business and I'll make that return. So I don't know. I just thought it was common knowledge. You've got to spend money to make money. But
well, I've got a good friend I've had for a while, and amazing woman. She's built up a business on her own, single mum, and I think she invested like $100,000 or $150,000 in over a couple of years into personal coaching and business coaching and getting her head right. And yeah, everyone was saying, you're just crazy, you're stupid, why are you doing that? And yeah, she's now retired, and she sold her business for like, I think 5 or 6. She sold her business for a lot of money.
Jeez.
So if you look at that, yeah, it might have been a crazy amount of money, but she was able to build a business that was big enough that she could comfortably retire. And it's those type of things. Like I don't know, some of the money I invested in the early days in making my transition from shooting fishermen to shooting fashion. Yeah, if I look at what I spent for some of the things I went to, yeah, I got conned by a couple of them, it's super expensive. But I think I still learnt lessons from it that I could say, would I have got to where I am quicker, or would have I, if I didn't know that? Or even you hear me talk about this quite a bit, that I never want our workshops to be like those workshops.
I was literally just about to say that you went to some workshops that you thought were a waste of money, but at least you got out of that you learned, hey, I don't want us to be like that.
Yeah.
So at least you didn't walk away with nothing. You worked away learning something.
Yeah, and that just, you can't put a dollar figure on that. So it's that side of things really hard. But yeah, I don't know, I've heard people say, things like, I don't do workshops because not just mine, to anybody.
Anyone.
And they might say, because it's $1,000 and I could buy another lens with $1,000.
It's okay, but do you know how to get the best photo using that lens?
Well, yeah, and I'm working on a couple of tutorials at the moment, which is all about lenses and lens selection. And without giving a secret away, it doesn't really matter what lens you use. If you use it properly, unless you're after a super fast lens for a reason, or if you're shooting, there's certain things like the people who are shooting architectural need a certain style of lens.
Super sharp and stuff.
Well, they think they do. Well, yeah, they do to a point, but everyone was happy with it 5 years ago, so why do they need even sharper now? So things like that, but it's so you can zoom in 120,000%.
Which no
and
one's
see
doing.
the blowfly on the window, because that's really architectural. But with those type of things, and I'm learning more and more by feeding my own little devil. And my own devil, as I've got on one of my own goals lists, and one of the top things I've got is don't buy dumb shit. I just keep buying dumb shit. But as I'm buying the dumb shit, I'm actually really teaching my stuff, and then I can sell my dumb shit for hopefully the same amount of what I bought it for. But it is that thing that we forget what's the most important thing? Is it the story you're telling, or is it the piece of paper you wrote it on, or the pen you used to write it with?
Yeah, no, it's the story.
The story. So it's coming back into that thing, even within your own business and developing your own business. There is a story of how you went from here to here, and how many crossroads you went through, and which ones you didn't turn left or right on, has got you to the place where you are today. And you can't say, well, I should have turned left back then, because you might have gone bankrupt if you turned left.
Well, it's like it's not even just business. Like, well, I guess it still is, but it's also life. Like, we were having this talk a little while ago that when you first met me and I was like lanky and young and
a fashion model.
Yeah, exactly.
A proper fashion model.
Proper fashion model. And Peter was saying he's kicking himself that he didn't fly me over to Paris, and like we didn't like go around to a few agencies, and he didn't like push me in the high fashion world over in Europe, because I probably could have been making mega bucks. But if you had done that, then I probably wouldn't be sitting here being your assistant today. So, and who knows?
And you wouldn't have met Jared.
I wouldn't have met my boyfriend. I would have.
You might have met MGK instead.
Oh my God, I don't know. I don't think so. But who knows? It also might have been a complete waste of time. We can't just say that, oh, this would have happened, because that also might have failed, and maybe I wouldn't have. So who knows? All we know is we're here now, and things are pretty good now.
Who knows? The journey would have been better, or you might have gone to great heights in modelling, but then there could have been some disaster crash, and you ended up in a mental hospital.
No, I'm joking, but it's just you can't wonder like.
And I think it's one thing that I've learnt. You can't look at something and regret it. It's happened. You dropped that bottle of milk. It's broken. There's not a thing you can do except learn from it. And I think one of the big things, and one of the things that I've got a tutorial, or one of my rants I'm going to do, is about failing. And as I've said to you all the time, I need you to make those mistakes. But then once you've made the mistake, hopefully you've learned from it, and you won't make that mistake again. You'll be fine. But if I just tell you, don't do this because this will happen, you're not going to learn a thing from that, because, oh yeah, he said this would happen, and oops, oh, that did really happen, and oh, that cost a lot of money, or that did this. And it's the whole thing. Like, you leave a cupboard door open and you go, don't hit my head on that door.
Yeah.
Well, the smart thing would have been to close it.
Yeah.
Right? And then once you've hit your head there, the next time you see that cupboard door open, you'll close it.
Yes.
Or you'll move it so you can't hit your head on it.
I heard a thing in a podcast I was listening to that said that our brains don't register the word don't. So if you say don't hit your head, your brain doesn't register the don't, and it just...
here's the do.
No, it doesn't even know. It just means hit your head.
Hit your head. Yeah.
I don't know if it's true or not.
No, it's talk to any golfer. They get to a hole and there's a big lump of water off onto the right-hand side. Don't slice it into the water. The very first thing they've just told themselves to hit it into the water. And how many times have you said, oh, don't put the glass there, I'm going to knock it over? I mean, within a very short time, you've bumped it or nearly knocked it over. Maybe
once or twice.
Yeah. So I really feel it's some of those things, and just like some of the one of the workshops where I don't know if I told you this, but it's one of the very first workshops I ever went to, and it was only because I was coming from shooting Smelly Fisherman to trying to shoot fashion or shoots in studio, and this guy had put up this course, and it was a one-day crash I think he called it a certificate course, and it went for a month, but the first thing was a day, and you booked for that, and then if you liked that, then you could book weekly sessions. And I booked in for it, and I can't remember, it was a lot of money. It was $2,000 or $3,000, I can't remember. It was a lot of money. So the day it was coming up on, I was really spewing because 2 days before I got a chance to go down to Phillip Island and jump in a racing car on that day, and I had to go, I can't do that. It was a stinking hot day. It was about 40 degrees. I've turned up to this little factory down at Whoop Whoop.
Which means like far away.
Far away, just not near anything.
Sorry for Australianness.
And I get to the factory, it's all locked, and there's a stuffed cat in the front window, and it's all dusty and dirty. There's no cars around anywhere. And I waited 15, 20 minutes. I was a little bit early. There's still nothing. And now it came to about 5 minutes past the time, and 2 other people had turned up. And we're all sort of questioning, are we at the right place?
What's with the stuffed cat?
I don't know. There's a stuffed cat in the window.
Like taxidermy? Or?
Yeah, taxidermy. Someone's animal had been, it was sitting in the window getting fly blown or something. I don't know.
That's so creepy.
About half an hour after when it was supposed to start, there was a girl there and she decided to ring this number on the website. He said, oh, yeah, we're just running a little bit late. Well, I ended up turning up nearly 50 minutes late. So he jumps out of this old bomb of a car, and this lady gets out as well that had like 10 years of tranny makeup on. Like it was just way over the top. And we go in and says, oh, sorry. And he goes, oh, we'd have coffees for you, but we forgot to get milk. And we walk into this warehouse thing that was really grungy, like not cool grungy, just messy. He said, come up to the office, go up in the office, and then we found the other lady was the makeup artist. And he said, yeah, the model's running a little bit late.
Oh, my gosh.
So I think we're supposed to start at 10. By the time 12, she turned up. So basically the first 2 hours, we did nothing. Had nothing for us to drink or that, and we were not near any shops or anything.
Oh, my gosh.
The lady there sort of dropped a hint, and then the makeup artist goes, oh, yeah, I'll zip out and get some morning tea. And one of the other guys joked, lunch. The model turns up, and she was sort of all right. Mm-hmm. And hair and makeup took an hour and a half. And we still haven't done anything. He hadn't spoke about photography or anything.
Oh,
walked into the studio, and the studio room was quite nice. He had a chair set up. She came in wearing lingerie, and I thought, And he set up just, I think it was an umbrella, 45 degrees off to one side, got a trigger, tick, 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 and said, there you go, and gave us a trigger each, and just say, just yell when you want to change.
Oh my gosh. See, I think that's unfortunately a lot of people have been to workshops like that, and they tend to think that yours is going to be like that as well, but it's so much of it is not. Like, you teach a lot. From the second we start at 10, you start teaching technical stuff, which you don't like going into technicals because it's very boring. But you have to teach it.
Well, we couldn't even get the trigger to fire properly, and it was all these things. He just walked away and disappeared, and we had to go find him. But again, that was, and I didn't do anything else. But the model, I got talking to the model, and I just mentioned, hey, because I had nobody to practice with or nothing. I didn't even have a studio back at this stage. I spoke to the model, and she goes, well, I had a friend who's got a little hire studio. She hires the studio out for $30 an hour. And I need to get some decent photos of not in lingerie.
Yeah.
Done. Do you mind? What about we do something together? And because I'm desperately after shots, but everybody just wants to shoot me in lingerie and things like that. I want something more. I don't want to be working that side of things. And it ended up, she actually was paying to do a modelling course with the same person.
Oh my God.
So this was him teaching her to be a model.
Yes.
So she never, we did a shoot about a week later. We had a fun little shoot, and I learned a lot from that shoot. And just from that, so that money wasn't a waste because I wouldn't have met her. I wouldn't have had that because we were both learning together so we could both try things.
That's cool. And that's, I guess, what you tell a lot of people to do is find a model who you're happy to work with, who's happy to work with you, and you just test things out. That's the best way to learn.
Yeah, just play. Don't set any expectations on what you're going to get. And she wasn't expecting, she was just expecting some photos that weren't in lingerie. That's all she wanted, was something that she could use for how she wanted to model. And all I was looking for is someone who was reasonable to look at. I'm not saying she wasn't, but it was like, yeah, she's sort of attractive. So it makes it easier when you're setting up lighting and things like that. If you got someone who's sort of can't bring beauty from the inside to the outside, because I still feel beauty's on the inside, not the outside. And one of my first big commercial shoots was with a model called Tali. And when she walked in, I just thought, she just looks like some hippie chick, long straight hair, very, just very boring face, nothing about her. And she stepped out of hair and makeup, and it's like, oh, wow, where did she come from? And then when you lifted the camera, it then went to the next level. And I didn't even realize she was one of the Deal or No Deal girls. So anyone does, it's a really old show where they had all these girls wearing wigs and things, briefcases, and she was one of those girls. But she also did a lot of work. She had some of the highest designers in Australia at the time, when we actually had designers in Australia. She was used a lot by them because she was had that look that you had, 16-y. Lanky, long, a bit boring in the face until the camera gets lifted. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was things like that this people tend to go, oh, she doesn't look like a model. But then you get some girl in a bikini or in lingerie sitting on the beach, with the hair blowing, and she's so much not a model, but they look at it, oh, she's a model.
Yeah. So people have these expectations of what a model
should look like, rather than, most of my favourite models are pretty dorky when the camera's not on them.
Yeah.
And even the big ones. Look at Adriana Lima and look at Candace. They're just everyday people, and when the camera gets left on, kapow, they just pop out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So, I think it's actually important to make mistakes. This isn't giving you a reason to break things and make mistakes.
Peter told me that I need to break things.
No, you don't need to break things.
That's my excuse.
I know that's your excuse.
No, my excuse is that it's your fault for hiring me.
Sorry, that was... Stop stealing my... One of the things I used to do with Bec, if she'd made a big mistake, I'd say, it's not your fault, it's my fault for employing you. I've made this massive mistake by employing you, and I keep employing you, and mistakes just keep happening. Things just keep breaking.
It takes the pressure off me.
I know. You didn't like it when I first started.
No, I didn't, because it made me feel even worse. No, I'm okay with it. It's been long enough now. It's been 4.5 years now. It's all right now.
So 4.5 years?
Roundabout, I started February 2018.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's about time for change.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, because...
Can you put an ad up on Facebook?
No.
Well, the ads on Facebook the marketplace aren't working. It's solely your computer.
I just don't think anyone wants it.
I know. So I'll use it as a paperweight. Every week I just drop it by $100. It'll go sooner or later.
What, when it's free?
No, when we have to pay someone $100 to take it away.
Like it's going to happen.
I did get someone give me an offer from eBay. And they give me $200, but they wanted me to post it for nothing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, from $1,300 to $200.
People are outrageous.
Don't you love that?
I remember when I was selling my old car, I had it listed for, I think, $8,000. And someone replies, they're like, I'll give you $4,000 cash, pick it up today. I'm like, it doesn't matter if it's cash or not for me.
I'm not running a business. I'm not going to pay tax on it.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter for me. But you just offered me 50% of what I've had. Like, get lost. That's not okay.
Yeah, go to a service station and say, hey, I'm offering to pay half of the petrol at the moment.
It's like, I expect people to haggle when you're doing stuff. But
why?
Well, because everyone does.
You don't?
Yeah, I know, because I'm not a loser.
So it's not everyone. I don't either.
That's really harsh. I know.
A loser.
I don't know. I just really hate haggling.
No, I'm the same. But it was like when we got the heater, I went in there and one of the weird, awkward things were, are you Peter Coulson? That awkwardness. He's a photographer, local photographer. He's got a studio up the road, I think. But anyway, he goes, I gave you 50 bucks off it. Oh, thank you. Yeah. I was happy to pay the price that was.
To pay full price, yeah.
But it was nice he gave me that discount.
Yeah, it's very nice.
I'd never asked. Have you heard me actually ever ask for a discount?
No.
Or anything?
I don't either. I never. And even when I went to Bali a few years ago, I was so nervous about going to the markets because everyone told me you have to haggle. And I'm like, I don't want to though. It's like it's only like $2. Like, I don't care. They're like, no, you have to. Like, they find it rude if you don't. I'm like, Jared, you can do this for me. Like, I just can't.
In Barcelona, you and Anne at the market, remember? The T-shirts and all of the markets in Barcelona.
Oh, yeah.
You two, like Anne haggled like crazy. I was happy just to pay whatever the price was.
Anne was doing the haggling for me because I can't. It's just not me to ask, like, and to.
Well, I don't like if someone wants to haggle with me. Like, you get really peed off if someone goes, oh, your favourite thing is I see you've got a coupon area on your website. What, have you got a coupon code you can give me?
It's like, yes, we've got a coupon for you. That's because of people like our sponsors and stuff. So that's for them to use that area.
Yeah, we might get sponsored to run a workshop somewhere, and it might have been someone like Broncolor said, look, we'll put some lights in there, we'll give you some pamphlets and things like this, and we're going to give everybody a discount of 20% if you let them shoot with our gear and you let maybe one of our reps come in and be there so you can just chat to people during it. So it's a real soft sell. It's not a hard sell. And normally, like when we had the people from Canon, Sun Studios and Canon come in, it was really beneficial to everybody who had a Canon in there, and even some of the people who didn't have Canons could ask questions because they weren't just salespeople, they were true reps. They understood what the camera gear did and had answers to the problem. And well, there was even a couple of people with Nikons just asking questions, and they answered them so they could understand how to do the same thing with the Nikon.
Yes.
Yeah, those types of things, I don't know, they're helpful, but then there's the ones where I couldn't get over. I was watching a YouTube the other day, and on the YouTube, the guy is predominantly everything's just a head camera on him talking. It's basically a podcast, except he does flash up other photographers' photos in it. And all of a sudden, I'm sponsored by Lexus camera, and you've never seen him lift a camera. He never talks about his own shooting or the gear he uses or anything. But now he's dedicated 5 minutes to talk about Lexar drives.
Oh, right.
You know, so like, it just feels alien to what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a bit strange.
Yeah. All that
felt
sponsorship.
Like really robotic, yeah.
All that sponsorship. It's like we get so many people that send us, and it's like, no, I wouldn't use that. No,
well, the thing is, you're not going to do it's like that. Like if it sounds so alien, you don't want to sound like that because you're not going to talk about something and plug something that you're not actually really passionate about. And it's even on workshops, so when you bring out the constant lights and you tell everyone, I'm not sponsored by this, I'm not being paid to say this, I just really believe in these lights. So that's when companies email us saying, oh, can you do a YouTube on this product? It's like, well, we could, but we don't use it. So it's going to be one of those weird scripted, and here we have this new light. It is really fantastic. It has got these features on it. And if you go to their website, you can use my code PETER for 20% off. Like, it just sounds so robotic. Whereas if you actually, the buttons that you got, what are they called? Can't think, tip of my tongue.
Oh, yeah, they sent me an email today, I think. Monogram?
I think so.
Yeah, Monogram.
You had a look and you were like, I really like the look of these. So
and I think
you spent like 2-3 weeks playing around with it, trying to get your workflow, and then you were like, hey, let me just.
And then I bought stuff.
And you bought extra ones.
So they said, look, we'd like to send you out this. And I said, well, if I don't like it, I'm just going to send it back to you. Yeah. And if I use it, I'm not going to do a video on them, but I will have them in a video because showing how I use it. Because if I'm using it, I'm happy to share. And I use that, and I use a Stream Deck, and it does. The longer I've been using them, the more I'm using them. It gets workflows are weird. It's like you get a new Wacom tablet and they've moved the buttons. It takes ages to get it right again. Yeah. These are the same Stream Deck. Everything's starting to fall into place. And even when we traveled, I took them away with us because they're so small. And it's just a certain program, because while it's plugged in, as soon as you flick programs, the buttons do different things. Yeah. So just with it just sitting normal, if I'm just on a normal page on my Apple, the top knob's my volume knob.
Yeah.
So it's there on the normal page. Once I go into, or nearly on every program I'm using with sound, it's a volume knob. But the next couple of knobs down have a different use. So in Final Cut, one of them stretches it longer and the next knob down stretches it bigger and smaller. Yeah, and they're just, once you start getting used to, the only thing I wish there was a way of electronically labeling them. So when you went from one program to another, you could remember what that button did until you get used to it.
Yeah.
Like the Stream Decks, you can actually have a name written on the actual button, which I find really, really handy. But,
you love your Stream Deck.
But it's the same with like Seven Artisans rang me out and said, look, it's got this 0.9550.
Yeah.
And I said to them, yeah,
I'll try it.
I'll try it. If I don't like it, I'll send it back. And I'm not going to do something crazy with it. I'll show people me using it if I like it, because then we put it into that cheap camera.
We've put it in a few videos, actually.
A couple of videos, but they didn't tell me it was APS-C.
Oh, that's right.
But so what I did not long after then, I went and bought the TT Artisans 0.9550, and I didn't ask for any discount. I just went on the webpage and bought it because I really liked the look of the Sevens Artisan one and everything I read online. And fully wide open, I love that 50. It's just, it's a little bit heavy for what I want to use it for. And it really, for me, and look, it is a really good lens for that 0.95 look. And that's about $1,000 in Australia. I think in the end it's going to be dumb shit that I shouldn't have bought. Oh,
it gave me a fright.
Just as I say dumb shit, we get cut off. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. We are going to finish on that. And
See you next time.
See you next time.